Hi, I'm your host, Bree Wild, and this is Marquee Memories. Here we sit down with your favorite artists to talk about their top concert memories as fans. Today's guest is the frontman of Atlanta-based pop-punk band Cartel. They were just a part of Warped Tour's 30th anniversary in DC and Long Beach, and come this fall, they'll be celebrating the 20th year anniversary of their debut album, Chroma. Will Pugh, welcome.
Hello.
First of all, I can't believe that Chroma is 20 years old.
It is.
Given how much time Say Anything is still stuck in my head.
That's good.
That's good.
Little earworms, 20 years old.
I listen to new music too. So it's not like I don't ever listen to, not stuck in that era.
Yeah.
But that song is just stuck in my head forever.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
I usually ask people why they're here in LA, but I think I know. You were here for Warped Tour.
Yeah. Any
other secret business?
Not really. We played, some press, and I did an acoustic set at a show, Frogtown Brewery on Thursday. So yeah, just hanging.
Nice. How was Warped Tour?
Warped Tour is awesome. I mean, it's cool to see how much it's grown. Like even when it's obviously been gone for a little while, that still in a parking lot. Some things won't change, but 80,000 people. I think that's got to be the biggest Warped Tour that's ever gone down. It's festival style. It was really fun. It was just really cool to have it back.
I admit that I did not stay the whole time for your set.
It's all good.
But I went home and got tickets to the fall tour.
There we go.
So it all works out.
Yeah.
That happened for the band I was going to see Sunday too. I was like, nope, I'm not going. I'm just going to buy tickets to the fall tour.
Well, you get a longer set, so.
Yes, like the full thing.
For
Not 36 minutes. Is that how many?
We had 40.
Oh, okay.
We headlined our stage, so.
Nice. All right, let's go ahead and get to some of these memories.
All right.
Set the scene. Tell me about it.
Saves the Date, Newfound Glory, Piebald at Under the Couch, 2000. Under the Couch was this, I think by day, it was like student union, like coffee shop on Georgia Tech campus, which I'm a UGA fan for anybody who has not a Georgia Tech fan, but they at least had really cool shows in Atlanta there. And it was more of a place that really gave a nice fertile soil for the underground scene to be able to have shows, because you weren't going to be able to go see a lot of underground hardcore shows or anything like that at most other places at the time. Just with 100 people is like the max ticket size. I mean, legit, I think the venue's like not much bigger than this room that we're sitting in now. And that was my friends had tried to get me to come to shows for a while, and I think I was probably like 15 at the time. So my parents were a little reticent to let me leave the house and go to the big bad city of Atlanta, But Newfound Glory, was like quickly my favorite band when Nothing Gold Can Stay came out, which it wasn't that long before that show. And all the rest of my friends were as well. So we managed to get a hall pass and go. Knew the Saves the Day record that was out through Being Cool. That was great. It's funny, the one band I didn't really know that much about was Piebald at the time, and they were the headliners. So it was, I don't know, it was just a really seminal moment for me, because you go into the small club. There's no air conditioning, so thankfully it was in January, so we weren't sweating that bad. Because usually it was Bikram yoga in there. It was crazy. Through Being Cool had the party cover, the album art was them sitting at a party, and all the the inside liner notes of the CD booklet that dates us, all had to do with the party. So there was one of our friends who was just, he was our asshole, you know what I mean?
He belonged to you.
Yeah, he was a great dude, but just always gonna find the gag, and he rolls in during the middle of Saves the Day's set, and everybody's rocking out and doing the whole thing, and he rolls in with a bunch of pizza boxes, like a pizza guy in the a Domino's outfit and stuff. He's just running around. They did not like that too much, because I think they were thinking he was making fun of them, but it was just no, we're all here at the party. I think he was actually making fun of them because he liked gutter punk, and Saves the Day is not gutter punk. So. But he had nowhere else to be, so he was hanging out with us.
But he's like, it's like the album cover.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't you get it? But it was a lot of fun. I mean, seeing the bands, especially Saves the Day obviously got big, and Piebald did great things. And Newfound Glory definitely kind of raised the bar for everyone as they grew from that to I think like a year or two, not even 2 years later, they were touring with Blink and Green Day, I think it was. There's like two shows that I get mixed up, is like Jimmy Eat World, Blink and Green Day, or Newfound Glory, Jimmy Eat World and Blink, something like that around the same time.
Some configuration of that,
yeah,
yeah.
but you go from seeing them in like a really small, venue where like they're sweating on you, actively, and then, the next time you see them, they're playing a amphitheater stage. It's pretty wild. So I think a large part of that show is like a lot of the reason why I do what I do now.
So that was pre-Cartel, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Were you playing any instruments yet, or?
We had a band. I believe the band name at the time was Last Chance. Typical. A bunch of stars on the cover of our little DIY home recorded album. But yeah, we were already playing in bands. And I think it was just Joseph and Joseph and Kevin were the only two like members that would be in Cartel in that band.
So I feel like I already know this, but you were a fan of Save the Day and Newfound Glory before, right?
Yeah.
And you saw them since?
Yeah, of course, many times.
Many times.
Yeah.
Did you ever play this venue yourself?
We did. It wasn't too long after that. It's probably 2004, 2005. We had played probably 3 or 4 shows there. But the last time we played there was we did like a small tour with like the Militia Group, and it was us, like Rocket Summer, Branston, and Umbrellas. We headlined because hometown packed it out, and it was like way too many people. That's sort of definitely a fire code violation. It's not there anymore, so it doesn't matter if I out them on that. But yeah, I mean that was the first like little full circle moment there to be able to headline it and sell it out for whatever that meant for 100 people.
It's a big.
It's something,
you were sweating on somebody else.
That's true. I most definitely was.
Have you ever played? When you're saying that. This venue called Jerry's Pizza in Bakersfield.
We've never played it, but very much know about it.
That is a
same thing.
Sweat from the ceiling sort of deal. Yeah, visceral memory.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've played with Newfound Glory and Saves the Day since then, or played on the same festivals.
We've played one college show with Saves the Day, but we played. I don't even know how many shows with Newfound Glory at this point.
What about songs? Do you remember hearing like songs you were really looking for? They only had, probably played full albums.
Almost, yeah. I mean, Through Being Cool, I think they had, I forget that, was it Can't Slow Down was the record before Through Being Cool. Didn't really know much of that. Still don't, admittedly, because Through Being Cool is just so, like, huge, for all of us. But, yeah, I mean, they played probably 35 minutes, and that's got to be most of that album. Yeah, and Nothing Gold Can Stay had just come out, and we were all, still absorbing all that.
And Hit or Miss was on.
Hit or Miss was on that, yeah, the first version.
Yeah, I like that. But I think I came into it after, not Nothing Gold Can Stay, but the other album.
The self-titled?
Yeah, self-titled.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them at like a Tower Records when that existed.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Nothing Gold Can Stay was a little more like down and dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wasn't recorded super well, but like kind of made you feel like, oh, if they can do it, I can do that.
For sure.
Wasn't so like out of touch where it's like a Jerry Finn production. You're like, I don't even know how you make it sound that good.
Right. I'll talk about this at then, but you did a re-record of Chroma. Did you do all of the songs?
We did.
Is there a re-record of Say Anything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's skip to, do you want to go chronological or do you want to go...
We can go chronological.
Okay.
Brian Wilson, Ryman Auditorium, Nashville, 2016. When we were making Chroma, recording it, well, not really recording it, but writing it, I was just sort of discovering Pet Sounds. Not even 21 in, the back of a van, just like cruising down the highway. And you kind of hear like, oh yeah, Pet Sounds was like Beach Boys' reaction to Rubber Soul, which then like they had this like cool like the Beatles and the Beach Boys had this like cool like symbiotic thing going back and forth, which is funny because like Beatles are obviously like the biggest band of all time, but then Beach Boys I don't think get enough flowers. It's just like, oh yeah, they're like the California Sunshine Band, and like yes they are, and like it's super influential at the same time for a lot of artists. But more so like not realizing how influential like Brian Wilson was to the Beatles. So like when Rubber Soul hit and Brian Wilson heard that and was like, all right, yeah, I got it. Like that gives me an idea, and goes in and like knocks out Pet Sounds, and then the Beatles hear that and throw down, you know, Sergeant Pepper's. It's like, holy shit, what a mix of music that's like rolling in. Um, and it's all just like two guys just kind of, you know, kind of bromancing, you know, over the Atlantic. It's kind of crazy, but um,
I
yeah,
don't
I mean,
think I knew that history.
yeah, I didn't either till I really dove into the Pet Sounds, you know, lore. Because I mean, everybody has heard, you know, "Wouldn't It Be Nice" or "God
Yes.
Only Knows," but you know, you get into some of the other songs, and it just starts to be like, okay, for the time, it's like groundbreaking. They're literally inventing new ways of recording music, not only just writing songs, but like, you know, changing the shape of the industry at the same time. And from, yeah, I'm an audio nerd, so like just kind of learning all the stuff that they were able to do with all of those albums between the Beatles and Beach Boys, it was just really cool. So yeah, when, you know, huge fan, and obviously like that was what, 2004 or 5 when I was getting into it. So, you know, Brian Wilson not touring at the time. Beach Boys played shows, but you know, like if it's Pet Sounds, it's got to be
Yeah.
Brian Wilson. I was like, I think Smile was just about to come out, and that was like a record that he had never finished, and you know, finally got the band together to figure it out and finish it. So there was a lot of just like hardcore, like deep fan, you know, geeking out going on about Beach Boys. So then to be able to, you know, see them at the Ryman, or see Brian Wilson anyway. I don't think there might have been one or two of the Beach Boys there. I know Mike Love wasn't there, but to see them at the Ryman, which in Nashville is, if you haven't been, like it's a classic, legendary venue. The original Grand Ole Opry was there, but it's probably the best sounding venue I've ever been in. It just the acoustic. You could stand on stage without a microphone; it would sound great. And I've seen a few bands like damn near do that. Punch Brothers being one of them. But to see Brian Wilson there doing that record, and I think like 20 other songs, like something crazy. It was like a catalog. Did a lot of the Smile record as well. Like, especially now that he's passed on, like just being able to have experienced that and seen that album was, I mean, like bucket list before you really have a bucket list situation. And it was incredible. I mean, he played really well. I know it was like his health concerns had always kind of been hard to work around with touring, but he sounded great. The band sounded great. And I remember exactly where I sat, and like almost every single, you know, moment of that, where you just like, and it's Nashville, so it's a bunch of musicians, which I mean, admittedly is very hard to win over a crowd. But for some reason, when Nashville shows up with like the musician crowd, and they're watching artists that truly everyone in the room respects, who is on stage, and respects the songs that are being performed, like there's a different kind of energy, because you're like, I know that guy is a tough nut to crack over there, and I see him singing every word, and I'm pretty sure there's a tear coming out of his eye. Like that's just a really cool moment. And yeah, I mean, you have like God Only Knows, and it's just like the entire, like, you know, place is in perfect harmony. And
You're like, is this a spiritual experience?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like one of those moments where you realize like how powerful music really is. That was transformative experience.
So this was 2016.
Yes.
Were you living in Nashville? Like, what was the
I
situation?
was in Nashville.
Okay.
There. Yeah. So I lived in Nashville for about 10 years, from 2014 to left in 22.
So you've seen the Ryman was like your
Yeah, I've
venue.
seen many. Yeah, I mean, bands I didn't necessarily know that much about, I would go see at the Ryman, because it's the Ryman.
And everything would just sound good.
100%. Yeah.
That must be your last time seeing them too.
Yeah, that was.
All right. Well, let's move on to the show that I didn't go to.
Taylor Swift, Lucas Oil Field, Indianapolis, 2024. Yeah, so I mean, kind of an oddball curve from, you know, a punk show, the Beach Boys, and then Taylor
You're
Swift.
well-rounded.
I mean, yeah, we'll throw that there. So it was the first show that I was able to take my daughter to see, who had just been born in 2016 when I went to the Beach Boy, or the Brian Wilson show. And we didn't know if she was going to be able to go. I mean, obviously, like, it was crazy expensive, and we by no means have it like that. But lucky enough to kind of know some end arounds with some people on her team, and got like the friends and family access to some tickets. And from hearing the conversations around where we were sitting, the people that were sitting around us, and what they were paying for their tickets and where they came from, my daughter quickly realized how much of a hookup we got. I'm like, yeah, see, like, your dad's worth something, right? Got to take you to Taylor Swift. That seeing her face light up, I mean, she knew every single word. And like, I'm not a Taylor Swift like stan in that sense, where I just know every single word back and forth and all the things, about all the eras and all that. But I definitely appreciate the impact she's had on music. Um, and especially like just my daughter's life, it's like I'm my daughter's fan, so I want to see like, whatever, gets her jollies off.
Mhm.
That's what I want to be interested in as well. And she loves Taylor Swift. So seeing her face light up when we surprised her with it, and then getting her there the same day, and just the whole thing. Um,
Oh, so it was like a day of surprise.
yeah, she didn't know it was coming. So we checked her out of school, and we're like, yeah, we got to take you we have to get on a plane. She's like, wow, we're getting on a plane. She's all freaked out. I'm like, yeah, we're going to the Eras tour. And she's like, what? She's like, seriously? I'm like,
I
yeah.
just got a goosebump.
Yeah, she was like, "It's so cool." I was like, "Yeah." So we, got her on the plane. Her mom, did her hair and all that stuff, like getting her ready to go because they all got to dress up. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm just wearing a t-shirt. I guess this is fine. I'll buy some merch when I get there, I guess, to fit in. Um, which was an experience in and of itself. But w- that show, like, she did an incredible job. But I mean, like, the production was insane. Like, that might be like the best show I'll ever see, just from like a level of lighting, all the choreography, just like she could have phoned it in like a lot more than
She
like,
did.
I mean, well, she didn't phone any of it in, but she could have phoned it in like even a little bit, and nobody would have cared. Is another one of those things where just being able to witness it more objectively, and like hear a stadium of 60 something thousand people like seeing literally every word, and my daughter be one of them, and just like kind of looking over there too, and she's just rocking out, and it's 3 hour long
Yeah.
concert. So I mean, I'm dead by the end of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, like she rips, but whew, I'm falling asleep. I'm tired. And she's out there still giving it everything she's got, and the crowd's right there with her. It's moments like that again. Like, it's just kind of a same thing. There's like a string of a scarlet thread throughout these three examples, that it's people who really care about what they're seeing and like know all the words, and there's like something bigger than the
Mhm.
sum of the whole happening. That those are the shows that really stick out to me, and like being able to see um, that tour with Taylor Swift, because I don't even know if she could do something that big again, just like playing all of her material, and like having that sort of like, I don't know how you top that.
No, I'm not
Kudos
sure.
if she ever does, but wow.
I think I've seen people kind of replicate it a little bit, like,
Sure.
the Eras. Fall Out Boy sort of did a set like that, where it was their Eras tour. Like,
Yeah,
well, she started it.
absolutely. Trendsetter.
Yeah. So this was your daughter's first show?
That was my daughter's first show.
When did she become a fan of Taylor Swift?
I would say she probably started listening. I mean, that was last year. She was 8 at the time. She probably started listening like actively around 6 or 7. So she
Okay.
had been listening for a couple years. And then obviously like all her friends got into it. When Taylor came through Atlanta, like a couple of her friends got to go. And so, she had big time FOMO. She was super salty about that.
It's okay. You made up for it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that wasn't like the impetus to do it. It was just like it worked out. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, that'd be cool for her to see. But I mean, still to this day, like anytime she takes a shower and she goes in and like turns on the Alexa in there, and it's just like loud and proud, it's Taylor Swift.
Nice.
And she's singing every word in the shower too.
What is her favorite era?
Ooh, based on the songs that she most often listens to, she's probably gonna nail me for this. Be like, no, Dad, that's not the right one.
We'll put in a correction.
Was it Lover? Is that
Lover?
was one of-
Yeah.
That's
my
got to be the
favorite.
one.
Yeah. Nice. Have you taken her to any shows since, or is it like hard to even top that?
She got to see us play at When We Were Young Festival
Okay.
last year, and that was cool to see her eyes just kind of like, oh, I'm like, yeah,
Kind of a big deal.
yeah. Your grumpy in the morning needs coffee dad can do it every now and then.
Nice. What about you? What's your favorite Taylor Swift song? I'm not going to ask you the era because that's for us bigger fan?
Yeah. Honestly, like Karma.
Okay.
Like that was like, I mean, I've obviously heard all her stuff. I think Blank Space is really good. I mean, and Jack Antonoff, right? Nailed that production. That little right before she says, "And I'll write your name," is just so good. But yeah, Karma. When I heard that, I was like, okay, all right. It just got that like she has a little bit of like festivity to it. That I'm like, okay, I think I can get behind Salty Taylor.
All right.
Yeah.
I heard you on, I think another podcast say that Taylor Swift kind of writes the same songs. And I was trying to think of some that were similar. Can you help me out?
So it's more so.
I know it's not a negative comment.
Yeah, correct.
It's a formula that really works.
Yeah, there's
you tell
a psychological thing that happens. It's more so in like the repetition. I don't think I know the catalog well enough, honestly. Like if you played it, I'd be like, there, that thing. But there's a lot of that in Karma. The da 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 da. That sort of like repetition of like quick syllables.
Okay.
There's a lot of like alliteration that happens through all that as well. Like that she's really good at doing, and then while at the same time like painting a picture with like very specific things, like sitting on your green couch with your orange pillow, drinking your coffee mug. Like she really paints a picture with a lot of songs, which I mean I think it's just all like very clever, intentional writing techniques that really bring a listener right to the front of the speaker for you to like attach yourself to it, rather than here are these abstract concepts of life and love and death and stuff. Like she really puts it in front.
You didn't get my sweater back.
Yeah, which I mean, like it's not so much of like the formula or writing the same song, sort of like
telling a
idea,
story.
But it's the storytelling, and then like that really just hits you with repetition of parts. I mean, I think like even some of the breakdowns, when you could think about like the breakdown and Shake It Off and stuff like that. Like she will bring those things back. Like when they worked, they'll bring them back in later albums and make it happen.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to see all of that packaged in one show and like not be bored or be able to go, like the DiCaprio meme where he's like, whoop, whoop, that right there on the TV, like not having that a single time. Like, that's the same thing. I'm just like, aha.
Yeah.
Like you get it with all like the glory of the fans, and you just see everybody just in total elation.
Is there a little bit of like production envy when it comes to being at a Taylor Swift show?
Absolutely. I'm just like, I mean, just like little things would happen. You're just like, wow, we'll never be able to do that. Like I don't even know what her touring crew, like how many people it is, but I mean it's got to be at least 100, if not several hundred. But yeah, no, that production was nuts. Even just like walking in, like, cause I hadn't seen like anything. My daughter had watched the Eras movie or whatever that had come out, and I'm too busy cooking dinner to watch it, But being able to walk in there and go like, oh, okay, like this is real serious. And some of the like the platform where it raised up and like spun around and like moved around, like just the evolution throughout the set where it's like, oh, they're doing the thing where the thing comes up again. It's like, oh no, it's changing this time.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff is just, you do it once and you pay a lot of money to make it happen. But again, like could have phoned it in even a little bit and nobody would have been disappointed. But I feel like it's like every dollar that, obviously a lot of people paid for it.
What you can see what you're paying for.
It's like, don't regret a single cent that we spent making it happen.
Someday I'll see Taylor Swift. But I figure I can see 20 shows a year or I can see Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's about right on the economics for sure.
So, what about, I know you have a tour coming up, but do you have any shows that you're excited to see as a fan? Or any bands that are?
Admittedly, I don't check the...
It's just serendipitous.
Like who's coming as much. A lot of times it's to see friends who are in town on tour. For whatever reason, Atlanta is like not a staple city that everybody comes through every time. Figure it out. So a lot of times it's just to see some friends on tour or whatever, versus like, figuring out a show that I definitely have to see. I mean, there's been a couple times I went and saw Wu-Tang and Run the Jewels. That was the last show I went to. Big Run the Jewels fan. They're from Atlanta, or Killer Mike's from Atlanta.
So it was like their hometown show then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen them before. Been a fan for a little while now. So it was cool to see them. Plus, like, I go to a lot of Atlanta Hawks games, and our seats are actually like right in front of Killer Mike's barbershop. Like if I lean my head back, I'm on his glass of his shop. So I felt like I had to go and support. And then obviously it's Wu-Tang. We actually had a sticker back in the day, a cream sticker, which for those who don't know, it's Cash Rules Everything Around Me for Wu-Tang. We made it Cartel Rules Everything Around Me as like a throwback to like, hey, we're cool. You know, we know rap music.
You never got a cease and desist for that?
No, we weren't big enough to get a cease and desist.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. I want to see that shirt.
I would love to be big enough to get a cease and desist. You've made
You should
it.
like dare me.
You've made it when attorneys get involved. Yeah.
Right. Tell me a little bit about the re-record of Chroma.
Yeah. So tip of the cap to Queen Taylor there. Seeing how well that worked out and how receptive it was like, okay, like that's cool. And then, you know, the gears start turning subconsciously years down the line. I don't know how even long it was till we decided to do it, but a lot of what we have found success in, you know, maintaining our fan bases through vinyl. And, you know, we had done 2 or 3 different pressings of Chroma in various formats of, you know, we did a live version of it during COVID, things like that, and have, you know, a couple other things. But we really had run into some walls like with some of our other records and going through our label that we were signed with for those records to get licensing rights. And it shouldn't be like that. You know, it's like, we're paying you, like, don't make it this hard. And a lot of companies, I think, are starting to actually fold those or like bring them in house and not allow licenses to happen. So seeing as how, you know, contractually their oversight became our advantage to where we could say like, oh no, we can just re-record it. It's been long enough. So did it so that we can be able to, you know, have our master rights for, you know, a variety of reasons, but also, you know, specifically pressing vinyl without that hurdle to, you know, to jump over, but then also being able to bring the songs more into a modern place. Cause I think, you know, sonics and what people expect are have come a long way since early 2000s. And I mean, there's some records that sonically just like still work because they were ahead of their time without them knowing it. But like that one specifically for us, I'm like, okay, yeah, like we could beef it up and bring it back, especially knowing kind of all the stuff we have on deck for, you know, next year and you know, future albums, which I just finished. So new music is on the way, but we wanted to have, we wanted to have Chroma like still remain relevant sonically. So where like if somebody's just now hearing our band from tours we go on next year with the new album, and like, oh, let's go back and check out the catalog, and then they go listen to old one, it's like, oh, doesn't sound dated. They go, oh yeah, we're getting in on it now, where it sounds like it's cohesive. You know, I've been saying this, but it's like a wormhole from 2005 that we connected to 2025. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna do this Chroma thing again, and then pivot off that to, you know, the next chapter of Cartel.
So you think the old songs the new songs will fit in with Chroma? Are you going to play some of the new songs?
On the tour?
Yeah.
TBD. TBD. I don't know if we want to like take the shine off Chroma like that, but I would love to. I think I want fans to be able to hear what it is. We might do it kind of later in the tour, because I think it's not going to be finished mixing to even be able to release until like right before the tour starts. So our intention was kind of just to let the new album do whatever it needs to do to come to life, and then figure out what we do with it afterwards, because we knew it wasn't going to come out till next year, you know, at the earliest. So it gives us plenty of time to figure it out. But I would love to, but I also want fans to actually, as a fan, when bands play new songs, I'm like, I mean, cool, but you know, like
this is the Chroma anniversary tour.
Yeah, so I do want to know like what the song is, and I think that like,
or at least having released it for a few weeks or something like that.
Sure.
First.
So we might be able to pull it off like toward later in the tour.
Are you gonna play the album tree to track list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think Chroma is one of those that like you have to run the sequence, because if you don't, like if we play Q&A first, people be like, what's going on here?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
12-minute song, ambitious, fellas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you feel like you could do that with any of your other albums?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we haven't done it yet, but um, I think now that we're kind of like fully back in the groove, and throttled down, that when those anniversaries come up, I would love to at least play one show with
Yeah,
those.
like a special.
Yeah, maybe do it around. Maybe we could just combine a few of them together and just kind of do one of those situations to play, a handful of cities around. I don't know if we could, if all of those albums have the gravitas to do a full US tour around them. But also I think all the new stuff we're doing is gonna outshine that, and no one's gonna want to hear the old stuff. Chroma will last,
All
but
right.
we'll bring songs with us. But the new stuff has a good juice behind it that I
Well,
think people are gonna want to hear that.
excited to hear it.